Alright, so I'm going to do a couple of really quick videos to just go over some reminders of a few of the math concepts that you'll need for the test, okay? So, just the simple adding and subtracting of your terms, okay? So when you're dealing with terms and variables and how to add and how to subtract them. So the big thing is to remember that you can only add and subtract like terms, okay? So if I were to add this, okay, so when you're adding, you see that it is lined up. I always try to line up my like terms. So this is something that you should try to do as well, is line up your like terms. So a and a square are different. These are not the same because this does not have, this a here does not have the square that this one does. So they are not like terms and you cannot add them together. Also remembering that if you just have A or just have B or just have X or whatever, there's an understood one. So when you're adding and you have A plus 3A, this is going to be 4A because there's always that understood one. Okay, so when you're adding this, you're going to do 7A plus 4A. That negative on the outside is going to change that 2 to a negative. So 7 plus 4 is 11 minus 2 is 9A. So here we got 3B plus 2B is 5. That negative is going to change that positive to a negative. So 5 minus 1 is positive 4. And then here we got negative 4 plus C, which is negative 3. That negative is going to change that negative to a positive. So then plus C again is going to give me negative 2C. Why is it negative 2C? Because you have a negative 4 plus 1 plus 1. You owe $4. You paid $1. You paid $1. Now you owe $2. All right? So that is your final answer. You can't do anything else with that. You can't add these numbers because they are not like. All right? So going into some multiplication and division. So that is going to be a little bit different because in multiplying, you can multiply if there's an A and a B. So let's say we've got 2AB times negative 3A squared times 4AB times negative B squared. Okay, so in this one, you're going to start with your numbers and then move on to the variables. So here we've got a positive 2 times negative 3, which is negative 6. Negative 6 times 4 is negative 24. Negative 24 times negative 1 is positive 24. Okay? Move on to your A. So you have A times A squared. When you're multiplying, you add the exponents. So that's A to the third. You have another A here. So that makes it A to the fourth. And then that's it. So A to the fourth. Then move on to your B. So you have a B and a B. Both of those are B to the first. So it makes that to the second. And then that B squared is going to make it B to the fourth. Remember, you don't have to worry about that negative sign that's right there because we've already dealt with it when we dealt with our number. All right, so that's going to be your final answer on one like that. So then when you're dividing, if you add exponents in, if you add your exponents when you're multiplying, then when you're dividing, you are going to subtract them. So if we had 10A to the fourth b to the third over 25 a to the sixth, b to the fifth, c to the second. So when you're dividing them, if your bigger number is in the denominator, then in your answer, the bigger number is going to be in the denominator. All right? Only when it comes to these variables, not when it comes to the numbers. So we have a 10 and a 25. If your number ends in 0 or ends in 5, it is divisible by 5. That's just an easy way to start it, whether you have 10 and 25 or 350 and 1,805. If it ends with a 5 or ends with a 0, it's divisible by 5. Now, it's probably divisible by a bigger number once you get into those higher numbers, but just an easy concept is just to start with 5. All right, so 5 goes into 10 2 times. 5 goes into 25 5 times. So both of those are done. Now I have my A's. So a to the fourth and a to the sixth. 6 is my bigger number, so I know that my A is going to be on the bottom. And 6 minus 4 is 2. So done with that. Then I have B to the fifth and B to the third. So the 5 is the bigger number. So I know my B is going to be on the bottom. And 5 minus 3 is 2. And then the last thing is the C squared. We just bring it down. And that's your answer. Oops, I'm sorry. Okay. Simple enough. That should help get you through these first couple of ones. Just remember, anything raised to the 0 power is 0. Is 1. I'm sorry. Anything raised to the 0 power is 1. And when you're adding and you're dealing with terms and numbers and fractions, go ahead and reduce your fraction to your lowest point and then do your addition. And when you're adding, you can only reduce. So if I had 21a squared b over 7ab plus, 3 over 21. So the first thing that you have to do in this is reduce. Reduce this one, reduce this one. But you cannot cross this plus sign when you're reducing. So I can't say, 21 and 21, that cancels. I can't do that because this is a plus sign. If it was a minus sign, I would not be able to do that. But if it was an equal sign, then I could. All right, so that should get you through the first couple of ones there. And I'll do another video. You can pause this one if needed.